Sometimes the most powerful act of creation is choosing to stop. We all have a tendency to be swept away by the feeling of momentum when starting something new or scaling to new territories. New beginnings have a special sweet taste, if you like. We romanticize perseverance and think of quitting as weakness or failure. But this mindset misses something fundamental about growth, and that is that growth happens in cycles. Hi, welcome back. My name is Mercedes, and I help women unlock their genius, build aligned businesses, and become their own most trusted advisor in doing so. If this is something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe to my channel and check out my other contents. Not too long ago, I co-founded a tech startup that, on paper, seemed like a dream come true. I was overfilled with ambition, and the environment was high energy, fast moving, full of new opportunities. This was exactly the kind of thing that I'd visualized for years. But as the days turned into months, and as I began to reconnect with myself on a deeper level, I felt a quiet tension building up. The persona I had to perform, the one who could pitch on command, push through endless hours, and mold herself into the expectations of investors and the market, became exhausting. It didn't feel like me. Or perhaps more truthfully, it felt like an older version of me, someone I was slowly outgrowing without even realizing. At first I thought, well, of course, I just need to push harder, be more resilient. But to no surprise, no amount of grit could silence the feeling that the company that I'd built was no longer aligned with who I was becoming. And still, I hesitated to leave. Because I had already invested so much time, money, my reputation. It became my identity. It's a trap that many of us fall into. In economics, we call this the sunk cost fallacy. The belief that because we've already paid a price, we must keep going. But that thinking doesn't consider the opportunity cost, the very real loss of what we could be experiencing if we were to choose differently. I began to realize that the longer I stayed, the more I was sacrificing my presence, peace, and creative energy. Staying wasn't noble, it was self-betrayal. And that's the side of persistence people don't talk about. When we stay in something purely because we're afraid to leave, may it be fear of judgment or regret or just simply being scared of the unknown, we keep ourselves in a loop that blocks real transformation. What helped me make the decision wasn't logic, it was listening. There was a part of me deep and quiet that already knew the answer. It was never about the business. It was simply about who I was becoming. And that version of me didn't fit inside the Silicon Valley startup hustle culture. And with this clarity, quitting didn't feel like giving up. It was just simply about allowing a cycle to complete, of letting go to make space for the new. We often think progress is linear, but our inner evolution doesn't follow the timelines of the world. Sometimes the soul ripens faster than the structures that we've built around us. And when that happens, we are asked to release. Not that, to discard what we've built as worthless, but to honor it as something that served its purpose and is now ready to be composted into wisdom. When you let go, you don't just lose something. you gain space. When you let go, you don't just lose something, you also gain space. A space that's needed for something new and more aligned to come into your life. And I would be lying if I said that I knew what that new will look like. We can all agree that it takes strength to begin, but it takes even more strength and maturity to know when something is not serving us anymore, and to let it go with reverence. So if you're standing at a threshold, unsure whether to push forward or walk away, ask yourself, what am I holding on to? And what is it costing me to keep holding on? Sometimes the most radical thing we can do is to stop performing, trust the timing of our inner seasons, and make room for the life that's trying to find us.